Uh, as a preliminary matter, this is Aaron Vandestein, the chair of the Grafton Public Library Board of Trustees. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Doug Bowman,
Aye.
Martin Essner,
Aye.
and Daniela Sharma.
Aye.
Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Beth Galloway. Could barely hear you, Beth. Can you try again? Okay, that was pretty much there. Okay, I think we'll be fine. Can you let me know who the scribe is tonight?
It is Cindy Zariello again.
Oh, fantastic. And Cindy Zariello, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Here.
Great.
Aye. Whatever.
So good evening. The open meeting of the Grafton Public Library Board of Trustees is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings. And as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted on the town's website at www.grafton-ma.gov, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded, so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting, the Grafton Public Library Board of Trustees is convening via Zoom video conference as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and that take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in colloquy with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. All right, very good. Just give me a moment to pull up the agenda. So Beth had asked Cindy Zariello to join us tonight, and this isn't on the agenda, but I think we can make an exception. So please, Beth.
So Cindy has graciously stepped in as our scribe until we were able to hire somebody. Cindy, don't worry, I do have a job description ready to go. I know you love attending these meetings, but you might want to do other things with your Wednesday night once a month. We invited staff to stop in and Cindy's family because we wanted to recognize her para-librarian level 2 certification achievement. The para certification is a paraprofessional recognition given by the Mass Board of Library Commissioners to sort of increase the professionalism of frontline staff who might not have a master's in library science. And Cindy, I don't know if you knew your parents were going to show up, but welcome, Dr. and Mrs. Brown. We're here to celebrate Cindy tonight because she not only got the level 1 certification, but exceeded the requirements for level 1 and was awarded a level 2 certification, which is just thrilling and exciting. We don't know that we'll be able to give you a raise ever, Cindy, but you certainly deserve one. And this award demonstrates that we want to move forward on that path for you and any staff who want to take that next step to become a paralibrarian. Congratulations. And I know you missed it, but Cindy was also honored at the Mass Library Association conference this past week for this achievement. And she joins Marilyn Wilcox, who is also a paralibrarian certified through MLA on our staff. Thank you so much and congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you, Cindy. Congratulations. This is fantastic and nice to meet your parents as well.
Are you going to give a speech?
Am I?
No, I'm just kidding.
Here you get blindside me. And
Well, perhaps you can tell us a little bit about the process and how long it took you to get the certification.
well, I started doing the certification because Marilyn did it, and I asked her all about it. And so then with COVID coming, I thought it was a perfect time because we were doing a lot of webinars and a lot of professional development types of things. And so I took some of that time to be able to fill out the paperwork, which is fairly extensive. Did you get me that green binder? And put the stuff into a binder. Here's the nice binder and stuff that, and so you have to categorize different, you have to go into different categories for your webinars. They can't all be like focused on children, or since that's my area. And so it was really interesting and educational putting it together and then going, wow, I've really done a lot for this. So it was, and it's been fun kind of reliving some of the things that I did.
So the way I understand and the way you just described, it kind of takes you in some a little different, a little out of your comfort zone and in a little different directions that you normally wouldn't take if you hadn't gone through the certification to explore different areas.
Yes and no. I enjoy many different areas. My main focus was in the kids' room, but I think because of COVID, I was able to kind of branch out and see different areas as well as the children's room.
Mm-hmm.
I think if it hadn't been for COVID, I would have been a much narrower focus.
Well, I'm
Great.
glad to see a bright side to the pandemic. That's fantastic.
So it was a fun process. You have to be pretty meticulous about dotting your I's and crossing your T's and making sure everything is right. But it was interesting. I enjoyed it.
Great. Thank you, Cindy. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thanks.
Congratulations, Cindy.
Congratulations, well deserved.
Proud of you, Cynthia.
Oh, that's her full name. I just call her Cindy.
Yeah, no, at least they didn't call me my nickname.
Well,
Yeah.
now we need to know, right? We've got to know now.
Okay.
Although we are being recorded, so.
It's okay. It's Deb Thompson.
Okay. I'm sure there's a story there.
Yeah, my brother, my sister, and then my name.
Mhm.
So
Yep. My parents did the same thing. It was always Ryan, Aaron, Nate, and somewhere they get our name right within the, yelling at us.
Thanks a lot, CJ.
Mhm. Great. Any other comments or questions for Cindy?
You can say something. You're not going to say it. I want you to say something.
It looks like he's being kicked under the table.
Yeah.
I think he'll be excused. Okay, I think we can move on, and those who would like to attend the meeting, please feel free to stick with us or feel free to drop off. But it was great seeing everyone.
Good,
Thank
Good.
you for inviting us.
good job, CJ.
thanks.
All right. Where am I? So approval of the minutes. So I've read through minutes for both meetings. So I'm okay to approve them. I don't have any changes. Did anybody else send changes to Beth?
Nope, they
Okay.
looked good.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the April 28th minutes?
I make a motion to approve the April 28th minutes.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay. Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aaron, aye. Marty,
Aye.
Doug,
Doug, aye.
and Daniela.
Aye.
Great. We also have May 10th special meeting minutes for approval tonight. Can someone please make a motion to accept the May 10th minutes?
Before that, when were those sent out, the May 10th meeting? I don't recall seeing it.
It was in the last package of attachments, probably about an hour or so ago. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We can postpone if you want time to read them.
Can we postpone just towards a later part of this meeting and give me a chance to look at it?
You want to read while we're talking about other things? That's fine.
I can do two things at once. I'll try.
All right. So we'll table approving the May 10th minutes to come back to it. So on bills, do I have a motion to approve bills 44 to 49?
I move that we approve bills 44 to 49.
Okay. Any second?
Second.
Any discussion? I just had a question on a couple items. I saw T-Mobile and Verizon come up a lot, similar charges. Can you comment on what those are?
So Verizon is our fax line at the library.
Yeah.
The T-Mobile are 5 hotspots that circulate that we've had for some time in varying degrees of working and not working. One is a projector that connects to the T-Mobile server and will allow you to like stream a movie. You can take it camping and stream it on your tent. The others are 4 hotspots. We've had them for a long time. They do not get a lot of use. In spite of the pandemic, I think only one or two have gone out. And MBLC, with their COVID grant money, has decided that beginning in fiscal year 2022, which starts July 1st, they will offer free hotspots to libraries. So I think we might have one more outstanding bill with T-Mobile. It's been a recurring charge because it's been like a subscription. But we're going to cancel it for June because we're going to have them for free in July for the next full year. And if at that point they're still not circulating, then we'll just establish that there apparently is no need for it in Grafton, which is, happens in some communities. But it's 2 things. And one of the charges is taken out of our communications budget because it's the fax line. And the other charge, the T-Mobile one, has been taken out of collection development or educational materials because it's a circulating item for patrons.
Okay. Well, that's good news. I mean, we're not circulating a lot of hardware, right? I guess we could.
We have all kinds of things. We have sewing machines, selfie sticks. We just bought a few months ago metal detectors. So we do have hardware and equipment and tools that people can take out. And it seemed like the hotspots were kind of a no-brainer. We don't have ebook readers to circulate, but that might be the closest comparable item.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking because of the pandemic, those sort of items maybe not be circulating, but I guess there's no reason why they shouldn't be circulating during a pandemic. I mean, if we're treating those items the same way we're treating books and DVDs and, games and whatnot. Okay.
Yeah, I think we chose not to do board and card games because we felt like even with quarantining, it was hard to sort of keep those materials in a perceived safe state. But electronics, like if they sit for a day or 7 days or however long, CDC and whoever had determined, I think it was IMLS who did studies. Those were still available to patrons during the pandemic.
All right, great, thank you. The other item, I'm just curious about the Plymouth Rocket and and the program reimbursement for Allison, I believe.
Yeah. So we don't have a credit card.
Yeah.
As a library, and the one for the town is very hard to get. So we are in a position of if it's not something that we can be invoiced for or get from an MHEC or state of Commonwealth, a Massachusetts vendor, then staff have to put their own money out to make purchases. So to fit our Tails and Tales summer reading program this year, we came up with two special things. One is a book folding program where we collected really thick used items, some discarded from the library, some collected from the Friends book sale. And we need patterns and instructions to give out to patrons so they can do the book folding activity. And those are available, again, not from any library vendor, generally from artisans and craftspeople. So Allison used her own money and credit card to make purchases for patterns for book folding so that we could make that part of our summer reading program. It's an upcycling, recycled craft program that fits the theme. And the other piece that she spent her own money on, there were two other things. One was Lego, which was one of our more popular summer reading programs. We've tried to do it as a fundraiser. It hasn't really taken off. And instead we've started doing it as a build along with us. We buy all the pieces, supply kits to the first however many people who sign up. In the past, they've come in person. This year it'll be, I think, on Zoom. And you can create and keep a Lego product in the same way that if you went to do a craft program at the library, we would supply materials and you would take that home and keep it. They're from all different vendors rather than from Lego Education, because Allison set out to get the most bang for the buck and keep the price low per item. So sometimes she might have bought direct from Lego, but she also bought from third-party vendors who have like stockpiles of that specific stud button piece that you need to make whatever that craft project was. And then the third thing that was rather expensive, I think we bought from Walmart. There were a dozen wheeled totes. As you know, the library is going to be closed for some period of time while we relocate. We're probably going to have our totes filled with those ready to go craft kits at the municipal center. And we needed something that we could easily move around and that it would be easy for staff to say, okay, that's the Monday tote, the Tuesday tote, the tote for the teenagers, whatever. Have that all pre-assembled and drag it over to the right place and make it easy for people to come and pick it up. And we did price them from a couple of other vendors, including the state and MHEC ones. The price was 4 times as much to go through, like, I don't know, what one of our like Office Depot or Staples or a company like that. So we ended up going to Walmart, which was the cheapest price, but could not invoice us. So there's a large, I think we're paying Allison back about $2,000, maybe more. For all of the things that she went ahead and purchased with her own money that was pre-approved to get reimbursed for. So the problem with not having a library credit card for items that we can't get from somebody on the state vending list, one of those two lists, is that staff are out $2,000 at a time for up to 30 days while we wait for that reimbursement. And meanwhile, she does not get reimbursed for like the charger fee for her credit card use. She's just donating that out of her generosity.
Yeah. Thank you for explaining it. I mean, it's important to get her reimbursed quickly. I mean, that's a huge charge to have to incur, on behalf of your job. So yeah, I mean, absolutely, as fast as we can get her reimbursed, and it's unfortunate that you have to do it that way sometimes.
I do think too, the staff are very, very committed to creating an exciting and dynamic program with components for all ages, especially this year, because as we were in planning mode from January on for summer reading, that's when it starts, January. We had to do all that planning and scheduling 6 months ago without realizing that, hey, June 1st or May 29th or whatever, we were going to be okay in theory to meet in person again with masks if we were unvaccinated. So like the Lego and the book folding piece, they're unique. They're maybe a little more expensive, but they've got a wow factor. And I think too, they're sustainable. We're doing a 10-week program, and there's, I think, six Lego builds and 10 or 12 different book folding patterns that people can pick and choose from. And I do think that Allison and Sarah and Heidi, who had some input, were really thoughtful in what they elected to do. And it is also still within our budget. So.
Well, I'm really happy to hear that, because the more you can engage all ages, I think is really going to help us out, and getting people back to the library when you guys open.
And then the Plymouth Rocket piece. So all of those programs are advertised, and the registration is through Plymouth Rocket's Event Keeper product. So we've subscribed to that for a number of years. There's a base fee, and then you can add on components. Like we can allow people to register themselves, set up an account, and remove themselves if they change their mind about the program and want to take away their registration or cancel it. It coordinates our event calendar with all of the program registration. And when we add the meeting room feature July 1st, it'll coordinate meeting rooms with our event calendar. So when Shakespeare Club decides they want to book the 10-person meeting room and an administrator at the library approves it, it'll automatically go on the calendar without us having to enter any new information. And we're paying for like 900 slots because we do hang on to those programs for a long time, because sometimes we'll go back to see what we did, a year ago and to try and have things repeat or duplicate. So the software, I think is $1,450 for the annual subscription. It was due in January, and it was an invoice that I missed. So we're remiss, and Plymouth Rocket has thankfully not canceled or yanked our subscription. I paid it out of gift for two reasons. One is because the Friends actually contribute some money toward it, because it also, Plymouth Rocket also has our museum pass reservation software. So it doesn't coordinate directly with the rooms or the reservations or the calendar, but we get a discount by adding that to the suite of products that Plymouth Rocket offers. And then the other piece was we were spending so much on other things with programming. It seemed like the gift account, which is pretty flush, was just a good place to take the whole amount out of.
Okay, thank you. That was a lot, and I hope you didn't wear yourself out with that. Doug, go ahead.
I'm sorry if I just missed it, but the event keeper, does it synchronize with whatever piece of hardware we're putting in front of the games, in front of the meeting rooms? Because I thought we were going to have a little display outside the meeting rooms with the calendar. And
yeah, they've got they have different feeds, but also I believe they're mobile friendly. So we can take the iPad or a tablet that will be outside of each meeting room and have the display of what's happening in that room, like for the whole week. And then I think in theory, if we could have a second tab where if you wanted to reserve the room, you could click and.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it wouldn't automatically, like, then someone needs to get an email to approve the reservation if it's that day of reservation, and it's actually going to be quicker for patrons, like to go to a public service desk to book a tutoring room. But yeah, it's an interface. It has a staff end the patrons don't see, and a nice patron display that will show really nicely on a tablet or mobile device or computer in the building.
Yeah, I just didn't know that the like Andy and company were aware of that piece when they're talking about the thing that's going outside the room. So great.
Yeah, it's just like an iPad, or a tablet that they made sure that there was a power drop, except when we found out there wasn't. I agree that at the end of closed daily, we could remove all those iPads and tablets and charge them in an office and hang them up again first thing in the morning. It'll just be a procedural thing. And they'll connect over Wi-Fi. They're not hardwired. And it will be secured so that people can't yank them off the wall. Like the ones we have at the library now are in a locking device.
Okay, any other discussion on the warrants 45 to 49, 44 to 49? Okay, so all in favor, Aaron, aye. Doug?
Doug, aye.
Daniela?
Aye.
Marty?
Aye.
And Dana, we're approving the warrants. We can't hear you.
I always have noise in my background, so I have to mute myself.
Okay, so she raised her hand and said that. So you
I
said
did.
aye.
You did hear me though, right?
No,
You didn't? Oh, I unmuted myself.
no.
Can I ask a question?
You hear me
while
now?
Oh, now we can hear you.
Oh, sorry, I don't know what was going on. Most people like to mute me, I think. Sorry.
Oh, did you say aye, Dana?
Aye.
Great. Okay. There you go, Cindy.
I talked, so you did get a motion
Cynthia.
in a second, right?
Yes, we
Okay.
did. Yeah. Thank you. Go ahead, Doug. What were we gonna?
It was actually related to the earlier when you read out the thing. Do we have plans for meeting in person,
Yeah, I
or
think
is
I'd
that on
like
the
to-
agenda?
It's not on the agenda, but I would like to address that. Maybe,
We can do that at the end.
yeah, maybe during the COVID-19 update. Okay. Great. So we're ready to move on. But Marty, do you want to go back to number 2?
Yeah, I'm prepared to make a motion that we accept the minute meetings of May 10.
Great. Motion made in second. Anybody second?
I
Second.
second.
Okay, great. Dana seconded. Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aaron, aye. Doug,
Doug, aye.
Marty,
Aye.
Daniela,
Aye.
and Dana.
Aye.
Great. Thank you. So to ongoing business, the MPLCP building program grant.
So I feel like I keep saying, we're in the home stretch, we're in the home stretch. We're really in the home stretch. Carpeting, it has been happening. I think everything is painted that needs to be painted. They're gonna redo some painting. Plumbing is getting hooked up. I don't know if we can use the bathrooms and sinks yet, but it's imminent. Vinyl flooring was installed. The landscaper was on site to go over where tree plantings were gonna be going. Somebody met, I think maybe Ron met with Historic District Commission to get their approval on some exterior signage. One of the things that we're doing to get a lead point is having a little information sign about non-native plants, destructive species that people should identify and yank out. Japanese knotweed is apparently a big problem, and the only way to get rid of it is to cover it. So you said you've been doing some landscaping. For some reason, it rears its ugly head during construction and landscaping types of projects. So there is quite a bit.
Yeah, it's when you loosen the soil, it loves loose soil.
Yeah, and you leave it, I guess yanking it up even will disperse it. They want to just cover it with like something rubbery or plastic for 2 years to really kill it. It's going to be an ongoing thing. If you've seen the pictures, the paving for the walkways, the front of the new entrance and the walkway that goes around the building to a beautiful round outdoor amphitheater with some concrete seating for children's performance is just beautiful. They hadn't, I think, finished grouting it when I looked at it, but it was all these beautiful gray, multicolored gray interlocking bricks. It's just lovely. The tile in the lobby and Friends Corner looks amazing. The light colored maple millwork throughout the building is really beautiful. They started constructing window seats and putting in cabinetry. This is probably an April and May update. I haven't been in about 2 weeks and I was mostly outside. I have some concerns about counter heights, so we're trying to address those. The whole building is supposed to be ADA compatible, compliant. And there's a range of shelving to accommodate different wheelchair heights for the wheelchair arms to slide underneath a seated counter. And I have concerns about the height of the counters in the teen room and for the public computing area. So we're trying to address those. Maybe keyboard trays or an alternative side lower counter will be the solution. The lighting design is really amazing. It's bright because it's those low energy, high wattage LEDs. But it still has a daylight component. It's not like warm, cozy lighting. It's bright, which makes it really easy to see. But the fixtures are really interesting. They're curved in the children's and teen area. They're triangular in the gaming space. There's some really cool, long, cylindrical ones in the reading room. It's just really coming together so beautifully. In theory, the HVAC is on and working. So they're starting to blow out the building to do some of that off gassing. The shelving is very, very delayed. And I know that Corey at Tucker Interiors is really working to try and get it in sooner. They had originally estimated mid-June, like Friday the 12th. And now they're saying it's probably not going to show up till June 28th, which is a very tight turnaround to get it set up so that the movers on July 12th can come and start to shift that collection back into the new building. Still doable, but it's a bit tension inducing to see those timelines so tight. Most of the loose furniture has been, I mean, it's all been ordered. It's being constructed and put together. And we'll be starting to ship beginning of June, so it'll show up mid to late June. There's a few straggling pieces. We're waiting for clarification on what exactly is straggling, but I saw a couple of July dates, mid-July, for some of the furniture. We would love to be able to have our Friends of the Library do their annual meeting in July in the new building. But I need to know if those stackable high-density chairs will be in place for them to actually do that on the date that they're looking at. So I'm still kind of waiting for clarification on that. And then I just got a bill for upholstery from Tucker, which is getting shipped out to Mass Corrections because they're the ones making all the cushions for the love seats, not the love seats, the built-in window seats throughout the building. And then Interiors Committee has been still meeting every other week or so. We're talking about things like what kind of design is going to go on the window film that's in the historic room adjacent to the 10-seat group study, so that people don't walk into that full-size window. So it's those kind of decisions that we're at the level.
When we went for a visit, we were kind of doing this a lot.
So Josie and I take Josie to OT, and we have this joke because there's these full glass partitions in between each kiosk where you go to register, and she'll get on one side and we pretend we can't hear each other, but the historic room is going to be locked. So you'll only be able to get in there, you know, with me or Heidi with the key probably. And then I'm in final stages of Xerox procurement and trying to figure out, do we need one? Can we get by with one, or do we need two? And I'm thinking that where the revolving materials account is pretty flush, and it's about $3,600 for one for the year, we probably can afford to have a full-size Xerox downstairs in the children's workroom, where they put out a lot of volume of handouts, and upstairs as well for the public. This construction is an everyday thing, but we're almost done.
Thank you. I saw a hand up from Dana. Did you have something to contribute?
Now I can't remember. It was a question about, you were talking about,
Window seats.
I'm sorry?
Window seats. You got excited about window seats, I think.
No, I think that's great. No, that's no, I think that's just really cool.
Well, we can come back.
I think it was about the shelving. So who's putting that together? That was my question.
I actually don't know. I was going on the assumption that Tucker hires somebody to do that for us. Like it's not CTA for sure. And it's not going to be me or you and Andy.
And who's Tucker?
Tucker Interiors is a library company that supplies furniture and shelving and display units. They're on the MEHC contract, and buildings work with them. My predecessor worked with them as well. They're pretty well known, and
so they'll have to, it'll be up to them then. They'll have to do that in a quick fashion is what you're saying. But because we had the delay because we think all the ships in the Suez Canal. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I just wondered.
They still have like 10 business days, but there's also a holiday weekend in the middle of that, July 4th. So.
Okay.
So, I mean, worst case scenario, they're still setting up shelving, and the movers come and start moving the office furniture first, you know, or they are able to get part of the shelving, say in the children's room, up. So while they're constructing adult shelving, they can start to move the children's stuff. I'm sure they will figure out a way to coordinate it and keep us on target for our soft opening August 1st.
August 1st is soft opening?
Wow. I think 10 days to 2 weeks to move should be enough.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, I think what would be helpful is to stick to the schedule that we're trying to create now for our June opening, so that we're not open 60 hours a week off the bat. What would be really helpful would be to do some half days, so a mix of evenings and mornings, to get staff acclimated to the space, to figure out workflow, to give us time to meet as a group every day to go, okay, what's working? What do we need to change? What do we need to put on the punch list? Did we need
Okay.
an outlet here and there was no outlet? Did we all are we all trained on the AMH? What trouble are we running into with, the self-check machines, that kind of stuff.
Okay. What do you mean by a soft opening?
Soft opening, we're open, but we haven't had a grand opening or dedication.
Okay, but is that open to the public?
Open to the public,
Oh.
all services should be available, but like if it turns out, we're still waiting for something to come in to make print work and there's no printing, like there just might be bugs and
Okay,
we need time to beta test and work that out without the stress
Okay.
of we're open, 10 a.m. to 9
Okay.
p.m. 4 days a week
okay,
and weekends.
thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments for Beth about the building program grant?
I do have,
Go ahead, Beth, and then Doug.
yeah, I do. I also do have one announcement, and that's I got an email from, maybe this is what Doug was going to say. I hope I'm not stealing a thunder.
No,
MBLC sent an email that they were going to send us $1.8 million because they had money left over. So remember, there's a waiting list, right? And even though we've met the first benchmark of signing the construction contract documents, and that only got us $460,000 2 years ago, because that's what they had to give us, because our turn had not come up on the waiting list. Our turn
Right.
is still not up. We're like number 7 on the waiting list now. We did move up because 2 libraries bowed out. But they had money left over after they did their distributions and sent over a contract and said, hurry up and get this reviewed and signed. I'm pretty sure select board will sign it Thursday night, and then we will get a check. Dana, I'll get you a press release if you want to send out. We'll get a check for 1.8. It's almost closer to $1.9 million, which is actually like 20. It'll total almost 25% of that grant that they gave us. So.
Are you talking this week?
Yeah, this Thursday night. It's on the agenda for select board this Thursday night, May 27th.
Okay,
And then we have
wow.
a quick turnaround to get the signed, because they want a physical signature, signed
Oh,
document
okay.
to MBLC. They will meet on June 3rd and then vote to fund us and then cut a check in the next couple of months.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just
Our
a
next benchmark is the certificate of occupancy, which I expect we will have, this hopefully July, August, which allows the public back into the building. But even then, even if we meet that second benchmark, again, if like our turn is not up on the wait list yet, then what will happen is next fiscal year, they'll do the same thing. They'll say, all right, well, this is what we have left over. Or next June or July, they might be saying, great, we're going to make sure that you've now got your first 20%, and next year you'll get another check if you meet the next benchmark.
Just in response to the check for 1.8 or 1.9 million, it's fantastic. How does that then get used when they start to reimburse us? Do we pay down the loan with that money just in one lump sum? Because we still haven't finished kind of paying all the bills yet, or have we? Do you know? If you don't, it's fine.
There's bills constantly coming in. I think that'll be between Andy and accounting.
Got it.
Yeah, because if they give us money, what we have to do is write a report that shows that we didn't use that money to pay off anything that was not an eligible cost.
Right.
We can't use it for landscape.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's
Okay.
Yeah. That's what Andy and accounting are dealing with,
Yep.
with that. So thankfully.
Okay. Any other questions for Beth regarding the check? And then I'll go to Doug.
What's the word?
Go ahead, Doug.
I was just going to add that I think this is the best time to add it, is the trusts. We voted last month to transfer monies from 2 of our trusts to the construction account, and that has
Right.
occurred. So we now have the $125,000 was moved from the Jerome Wheelock and the Geo Wilson Trust into an account for the construction program or construction project.
Nice.
Yep.
I'm glad that went smoothly. Thanks for spearheading that, Doug.
Yep.
I just have one comment to Beth when you're talking about the library space and talking about the lighting, how beautiful it is, and how unique it is. I just remember our discussion about a year ago when we were talking about stringing up lights in the adult section, or like putting flashlights at the end of each of the rows. And what a difference in conversations and perspective.
Oh my God, that was awful. I was
Yeah.
dying when we were talking about that. I have to just tell you that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Are we ready to go to the next item?
Possibly. I just want to take a quick look at the agenda myself because I might have had one other thing that fell under this.
Oh yes, weights and measures cabinet.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, please.
So the story behind that, I would like to suggest that the Board of Trustees meet with the Historic Commission, not the Historic District Commission, but the Historical Commission, which looks at things like building interiors. They had asked in May 2019 if we could accommodate a renovated weights and measures cabinet owned by Town of Grafton in the new building. And at the time, there was a space where we had designated a self-check on the second floor, the common level, across from the adult circulation desk, which was a little alcove between, I think, the admin office and maybe the historical room, that like had a power outlet because it's a big cabinet the size of 2 refrigerators that's lit with items inside of it on display. And I said, I met with the committee, and I think Ron might have been at that meeting, and my comment was, this is totally out of scope for the library. We have a collection development policy that says that we don't collect ephemeral like this. We're not a museum. But I'll bring it to the board and see what I could do. And I did not bring it to this board for a vote, and I probably should have, and I am remiss in doing that. Instead, at the next meeting that we had, I said, we have this opportunity. It's out of scope, but we can try to make it work. And then our plan showed that cabinet in that space for a number of years until 2 things happened. One is that John Stevens in a meeting said to me that the cabinet was restored and it was at the municipal center. I said, oh, I didn't think there was any other place in town to put it. Great, it can stay there. And he's like, well, no, you said you'd take it. And then we looked at all of the shelving, and in our efforts to keep the shelving low and to have a library that was not massive, we have very low, we just don't have a lot of shelving. We're not going to run out anytime soon, but we also don't have storage closets. And I would like for our library of things, which is some of the things we talked about earlier, hotspots, ukuleles, metal detectors, board games, to go on shelving in that alcove. So in the process of the Interiors Committee meeting with Tucker Interiors, I said, we need to reuse this space. And John Stevens, who sits on both committees, the Library Planning and Building Committee and Interiors Committee, is not very happy that I have gone back on what he's perceiving as my word that we would accommodate this request. So I think we all need to get together to talk about it. There might be another spot in the building that we could put it. My feeling is it belongs at the South Grafton, Old South Grafton Library at the Historic Society, not at our public library. But I think at this point, that decision needs to be made by the board and not by me. So I'd like to recommend that we find a time to convene a double meeting and speak with them.
So what is the urgency of this? Because we have a meeting next month and then a meeting in July. So we can certainly invite him, John, to our meeting, or we could convene a special meeting to discuss with them.
Beth, are you talking about like a face-to-face meeting?
I think it could be in person.
Because aren't we getting close to that? I think next week or something.
Yeah.
And
I think it would be a separate meeting of both committees, not John come and talk to us.
Yep.
No, it should be both committees.
Yeah,
There's
that was his request.
other committee members have reached out to me, and they this is definitely an issue.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I mean, I'm going to be away on vacation after our meeting in June for about 10 days. But other than that, I'm around.
Okay. And perhaps just share your evening schedule. If everybody could share their evening schedules, Beth and I can coordinate with their committee.
I did send a picture to the group just now, just so people have an idea of what we're talking about. Not to look at now, but just FYI.
Thank you.
I did go down and look at it, so you know, and they lit it for me. I asked it to be lit, and then we took some pictures. So I just think, I don't know, I think maybe if we meet together, we might be able to come up with a solution. I see that as something very positive because I did review the minutes and it was clear that Beth said it was okay. And I'm just thinking at this point, things are going so smoothly. Let's try to keep everybody on the same page. So I think us having a meeting, would that have to be broadcast if we have a meeting with them?
In theory,
Because it would preferably would be better.
open meeting law. It has to be
Okay.
a public, it has to be a public meeting.
Can we make it a public meeting? People can just come to it?
Yeah.
Okay,
It has to be a public meeting.
yeah,
It's not- yeah.
okay,
Yeah, it may not have to be filmed for cable. They would prefer,
okay. Why don't we do that and we'll invite the public to come? And I know there's some people that will come. So that sounds good to me. I think that's a great way to handle it. Thank you, Beth. I do appreciate that.
Okay. I will take that on to help coordinate schedules.
Okay.
All trustees don't need to attend so long as we have a quorum in the event of a vote.
And
So
if you
go
could also still do, it doesn't have to be on Zoom if you are in person, but we still do have a remote participation rule or with it policy that the town did adopt. So if you happen to be away, but you're willing to call in, even by phone, to hear the discussion and give feedback, that I think it's acceptable.
Okay,
You need to do
I'll
that.
try to be there,
Fully
but I
hybrid would be
appreciate
fine.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, thank you. Okay. Any other questions for Beth regarding the weights and measures cabinet? Great. Okay, next item on the agenda. I lost my agenda. Where am I?
FY21 budget review.
Yes, thank you. Beth, when you're ready.
I opened everything so I could easily share, but there's just too many documents. I'm sorry. I can try and call up the agenda if you'd like. I did not send out the budget from Town of Grafton. They send it out like at the beginning of the month, and I don't always think of it. So I do know that the FY21 budget is it was 92% spent as of like a week and a half ago.
Nice.
Which is, we end our fiscal year June 30th. So the concern that I have at this point is that and I had mentioned this last month, the utilities that I budgeted for have almost doubled what we thought that utilities would be this year. And we need to absolutely have, like, we can cut in other areas and like decide we're not buying any more office supplies or summer reading programming supplies. But we have to spend a certain amount on educational materials. So I have asked Andy and we'll bring to the library planning and building committee next meeting, beginning of June, to see if they will supplement the library's operating budget with some of those, what are really St. Andrews expenses that we hadn't anticipated, and, give us like $10,000 to help cover the electrical costs at St. Andrews. And if they will not, I would be asking the Board of Trustees to consider augmenting the budget if we need to meet our materials requirement before the end of the fiscal year at our next meeting.
So we voted to add 2 additional hours a week, but that doesn't.
Next year.
Yeah, next year, right? So we still have to meet the 15%, right? Okay.
Yeah. They're giving us a pass this year for not being open, so I think it won't fly.
Okay.
And I know I budgeted more than I had to for materials, so it might actually be just fine. And what we spend from the Friends or gift account also counts toward those expenses. I need to like fine tooth comb to look at where we are for the next month.
So does that mean you think that if we use the monies to pay the utilities, then we won't be purchasing enough in the month of the last month in June? Is that what you're saying?
So if the budget is expended without us meeting the materials requirement, which could happen because utilities are over budget, and then you give an influx from the state aid account to the municipal side of the budget, then that like frees up to balance the budget.
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
Yeah. So that we can complete any end of the year purchases that might
Okay.
be state aid required.
Okay, that's what I thought you meant. Okay. So you just have an idea that it may be over. You don't know that. You have to see.
I'm not 100% sure. I need to take another look.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and again, like, I feel like it's a reasonable request to say to the Building and Planning Committee, we still have some money left. Being in this temporary location, yeah, they're continuing to pay rent. It's $6,000 a month, but there's other expenses that go along with it that I thought that I budgeted adequately for, and did not. We had the air conditioning units, the big commercial air conditioners, longer for the summer season last year, and it was really hot, and we kept them running pretty constantly, so that cost us money. Yeah, I am hoping to get. We found out the faucet didn't get turned off at the end of the growing season last year, so we had an outdoor leak or drip, which we only discovered when I think that either the water or sewer department contacted me to say, hey, your bill's really high, you should check all of your taps. And they will give us some kind of a credit or discount on the May 28th bill for the next quarter, which will help a little bit too, to free up some money. We'll be a lot more careful this year.
Yep, that was my question.
Yeah.
If you had a remediation for the dripping faucet outside. So
Yeah.
okay.
So just to be clear, like there isn't potential to go over budget because of mismanagement or crazy spending. It's more I didn't budget well enough for utilities this year in particular.
Okay. Any other questions for Beth regarding the 2021 budget? Okay. 2022, Beth.
In April and maybe the beginning of May, the only budget work that I had to do was clarify all of the staff salaries and the types and number of positions so that the town administrator's team can work on that salary and compensation study that they got the grant to do and are hiring a consultant for. So we go to town meeting Saturday, June 5th, in 2 weeks. Trustees, I hope you will be there to vote. I will be there as department head holding my breath when they get to the library 610 line to make sure that nobody calls out a hold or has an issue with what we'll be spending proposed for FY22. So there haven't been any new changes since our last meeting. I don't anticipate any again unless somebody has some issue at the June town meeting.
Do we know if that's going to be outdoors or indoors?
I got invited to a logistical meeting about town meeting. So I will have an answer after I attend that meeting.
Text me. I'm just wondering, are we going to get sunburned?
I don't know.
Okay.
Wear a hat. Indoors or out, you'll look stylish.
Question about next year's budget. So you had approval to hire additional staff. Are you currently in the hiring process, or do you have to wait till the budget?
I'm in the hiring process, and then every week I have opened at least one of the 5 position descriptions to try and get it ready and write the post and get it out.
Yeah.
But between construction and moving and all of that, I haven't actually sent them to Evan to say, is this okay? I haven't been feeling well this week. So I'm hoping that I will get 5 position descriptions posted and approved They have to post legally for 30 days, but I believe I can start review of applications and even schedule interviews a little bit before that. We are getting unsolicited applications from people from Grafton and outside of Grafton who want to come and work for Grafton Public Library. So my feeling though is until we have that stamp of approval June 5th, we couldn't like extend an offer to anybody anyway. But and we've tried to, you know, the June opening schedule that I set up does allow for us to conduct some interviews even at the end of the month before we start to move. So I'm hopeful I'll get funded. And just a reminder, it's a scribe that would be paid for out of state aid just to come and do what Cindy's doing now, take minutes at the meeting. I still do the agenda and posting and all that fun stuff. A 16-hour-a-week administrative assistant to be 4 days a week, like 10 to 2 mother's hours in the administrative office of the library to deal with some of the meeting room stuff and logistics around that. A 18-hour-a-week young adult position to work offset Allison Kusher's 2 nights and every other Saturday. An 18-hour-a-week reference position to offset Heidi Fowler to do 2 nights and every other Saturday opposite her. And then an 18-hour children's position to do, this is going to be the hard one, it's 3 nights and every other Saturday, Friday off for Saturday. And it's hard, it's like feels really bad to post 18 or 19-hour positions, but we don't have guaranteed benefits, and benefits cost the town a lot of money. So the way to do it is, you know, we get these 18, 19-hour positions, and then every year, if those people want to grow in the position and are interested, we advocate to move those to 20-hour or 24-hour or 30-hour or full-time positions. I will tell you, I have a draft schedule to start in July, and it does accommodate for the being open Friday and Saturday until 6 p.m. It is very, 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 very tight. And I am probably going to be there till 6 o'clock on Friday and Saturday every other week for that first year in my beautiful new library, you know, to help with coverage. And as soon as somebody I'm probably going to be doing some of my work out of the YA room on Tuesday or on Wednesday and Thursday mornings, because it's like we're just going to be stretched really thin. And hopefully after a year or you know, into the budget process for 2023, we'll have the stats to really show the need for increasing those 18-hour positions to more hours, or splitting them into 2 and having, you know, 2 12-hour or 16-hour people. Maybe the admin assistant will be there 30 hours a week. That would be great. But you know, the budget is there to give us the bare bones. And then I worked with Daniela and Stephanie on the minimum staffing policy. I did share it with staff. And we sort of have a strategy for, well, what happens when we have 5 people? Somebody's out. What happens when we have 4 people? Can we still manage this big building? And we've come up with some, I think, viable ways to do it. It might mean, you know, the phone goes to a voicemail and we have to call somebody back. Or people have to go to self-check when they really wanted to talk to the librarian about the books or items they were checking out. It'll be a little stressful. I think it'll be okay. It's crossed. And we want to stay as low impact as we can for the town's budget.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you.
Any other questions regarding the fiscal year 2022 budget? Okay. How about an IT update?
I don't think I have any issues for April and May.
How's the wiring going in the new library?
Underway, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that the Wi-Fi is turned on, but it will be by June 8th, so I hear.
Right. So you wouldn't move the Wi-Fi from the current location to the new location. It's a.
I believe we are getting like everything new.
Okay.
Yeah, because you know, about half of it's getting paid for, almost half of it by that state grant. So, yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a challenge to make sure you have Wi-Fi coverage in such a big space. But
I trust Coughlin and their team.
Yeah, there were some dead spots in the old stacks.
Yeah, they're very thick walls. We have a really nice open concept building, and I think that I did ask for some external ones too, so that if you're outside on those gorgeous patios, you'll have wireless. My dream would really be that you're sitting at the concert on the Common and you want to update on Facebook and you can hook into the library's Wi-Fi from across the street. Branding is everything.
Beth, you've been thinking about that for years. I remember it.
Really slow. I eventually wear people down, Dana.
I think certainly inside the building, the coverage should be really good just because of the open space. Except maybe not in the basement of the old library,
Yeah, well,
but there'll be network in there. There'll be Wi-Fi in there.
the team computers and like that's really the bowels of the building. In the old children's room, the maker space is there and the gaming space is there, and the PlayStation and Xbox and those iMacs and that printer will be hardwired in. And then the
Good.
main part of the room is really the newer space, and I think that the coverage will be. I had a nice phone call from Bob DeToma at GCTV this week who said, so there's a live connection, right? But do you know what has to be done to actually turn it on? And so this was a conversation we used to have in the old building too. Like, we know we could in theory have live story time, but there's some connection or something that needs to happen so that the feed from the library gets to GCTV to filter through their software. So, he and I are going to talk with Andy to make sure we can make that happen, because that's just like another, it's kind of IT, something that we want to make sure we can do. It'd be live. We could have a live trustee meeting, new building. If anyone would watch.
That would be cool though. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you guys had such trouble with that. Cool.
Yep.
All right. On to the Grafton Public Library Capital Campaign, Dana.
I was trying to think what I could really say today. We're rolling along here. I think couple things. We had two commitments in 1 week from businesses in town, and one we've received payment on already, and the second one is definitely a true commitment. And it was a good sum of money, so we were pretty happy. And we're working on other leads, and we're doing a lot of thank you letters. I handwrite thank you notes to everybody, and then Dawn Anderson writes some letters and she sends to me, and I proof them and I print them because I have a printer. But so it's going along. We have a lot more to do, and we're considering it as ongoing, but we know there will be a point where we will have to say, by this particular date, we won't be, your name won't go on the donor wall. And I am also working a little bit on the donor wall too. Different concepts on that. We're working with professionals, Andy Deschaines from Sunshine, and we can talk about that later, but we're working on that. So we're pretty excited because the building is beautiful. Like Beth said, it's really spectacular. I mean, when you walk in and you see those 3 triangles, and the fact that they have the marble from our old library, people just love that. It's being very, very well received. So we continue to work. There's a couple other things we're working very closely on that should come to fruition. And then I guess we'll talk later about I guess now isn't the time, but at another meeting, I hope that we can talk about a gift that something out of the scope of the project that the capital campaign will be doing. I think maybe next time we can talk about that, but things going well. We're really working hard. It's fun too, but we're working hard.
So 2 things, Dana. So that's fantastic to hear about the marble that was saved, because I know that was a big pain. The construction company, said it probably would have been better just to go ahead and start new. But I'm glad that people like to see a piece of the old library space, and I'm glad to hear.
They love it. I mean, everybody sees that. It just gets so excited. And then we talk about the mill rocks that we found. We haven't found those large rocks. When I say we, the construction people, they found them that are like 6 feet long and 4 or 5 feet wide.
Yeah.
They're going to be part of the garden. And that's what we found. And we found a Texaco sign that I know Andy has that, and I'm sure we'll put that somewhere. I don't know. I'm sure he'll work with Beth on that because he found that. And we also found some pottery and things. So when I say we, it's the construction people as they were back, doing all the work.
So neat. One last question. So I saw that there was a gift from the recent Dexter filming in town. Did that go to the capital campaign, or was that just gifted to the library, gift to fund, gift
I
account?
think it was just a gift to the library as far as I
Okay.
know, but that was just a gift to the library, which is incredible.
Mhm.
That's really incredible. I mentioned that to my younger son and he said, oh, did they give anything to oh, really? Did they give something to the rec department? I said, yes, but they gave all that. We were just so amazed that we were given so much. It was such a night. It was such a great, it's just like another great story. And I have a story I could tell if it's okay, about a donor, and I can tell. There was a donor, a gentleman who lived at Crescent Valley Manor Home for 15 years, and he saved his stimulus check and he gave it to the Grafton Public Capital Campaign. And he's gonna, we're gonna, that will be, his name will be on the donor wall. And his relatives were telling me how much he loved the museum, the library. And I think Susan Leto is one of the librarians who would visit him. And he just loved all the books and everything. He also gave money to purchase specific books. So it was really, it's astounding to me. It's such a wonderful story. And, his relatives honored his decision to give us that money. I thought that was very sweet too. So he just loved the library so much. He wanted to thank the library. And it was a really good donation. It was high, it was, up there. So I thought you should know that.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that whole story. I heard a piece of it, but thank you for sharing.
And I asked them, they said I can use it. So we're going to use it. We'll use it when we talk to people, when we do it in the press. So I just thought that was really sweet. I really tell you, it's a 32, 35 years that this has been going on. There's been, he had a 15-year relationship with the library. I think that's significant. It really is.
Mhm.
So thank you, Beth, and thank you all the librarians and all the past ones. Everyone's been working so hard for so many years. And that's why this is going so well. And Andy and the building committee are just phenomenal. They're just working, making sure things go right. And it's phenomenal to me. It's just so exciting. It's like a dream. It's a dream come true, really. And I had somebody who's donated money, who's anonymous, and the family said, we cannot come to a tour, Dana. I'm like, you can't? No, because we'd be overwhelmed. We cannot do it. I said, okay. And these are young people. I was just thrilling. So.
Great. Thank you, Dana. Any questions, comments for the Grafton Public Library Capital Campaign? Beth?
I just want to say thank you to Dana and Doug and Dawn and Carrie for all of the work and solicitations and thoughtful use of where those funds are going. The Dexter money did go to the Friends, and I did ask if it could go directly to our gift account, because they have not been able to fulfill their usual obligation because membership is down and they haven't been doing fundraisers. So I know they promptly got the check, but I'm still hoping that they will disperse it to us, for museum passes and summer reading program prizes and that kind of stuff. And it was Walter Kasiba Jr.
Yes,
who,
thank you.
I
didn't mention his name. They said I could.
Yeah, so he loved CDs and music and reading Billboard lists. So we bought a fairly expensive collection of Billboard top 10 lists that he interlibrary loaned a whole bunch. So now we own it for the next person to get. And I just think it speaks so highly to the staff too, of the relationships that they build with our patrons. Susan Leto is excited to be going back to Crescent Manor to do her book wagon program. I think May 13th was the first one. And they got 24 or 28 requests and checkouts and hold requests from the patrons there. And it's something that will continue. For people who can't get to the library, we will bring the library to you.
It's such a great program. Thank you, Beth. Okay, on advocacy, I'd like to table this one. I don't have anything to bring to the group unless anyone has something they've heard about that can bring to our attention. Okay. Next is a Friends membership and update. So I just have one thing to mention, Marty, and I'm so so embarrassed, but I have a letter here that someone from the Friends Committee gave to me to hand to you because I was going to be visiting you that day and I forgot to hand it to you. I was so focused on getting your signature than giving you the mail. But I think it's just a Friends membership mailer. So if you've done that in another way, fine. But if not, I still have it here on my desk.
Assuming there's nothing really personal and you can open it, scan it, send it to me.
Yes. Yeah, that sounds great. Technology. And then we have an item here that says a gift for a retiring member. So Beth had emailed me a really nice idea for, can you remind me of the woman's name?
I don't know. Do you want it to be a surprise? Is it public? No.
It is public, and I actually have a photograph of something that might be nice for her too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Eleanor Tidman, who is a circulation librarian and then the circulation supervisor for I don't know how many years, has been on the Friends board and serving as their secretary for several years, and just continues to be a library supporter, and has even, I think, when people have been sick, she's like been called back to cover our circ desk. Eleanor Tidman is officially retiring from everything library and Friends related to have a life. So I had suggested that a staff jacket might be an appropriate gift, but I'm not tied to it. It's those nice lime green jackets. Some of the trustees bought into them. I think it could say staff or her name or something on the side, or not, in white embroidery. It's got the library logo on one side. And they run, depending on how many we buy, I think they were as low as $50. They might have been as much as like $74. So you get a discount when you buy multiple jackets. We will, it is my hope, as I discussed earlier, have new staff joining us in July or August who might, be deserving of said jackets should we want to purchase them. Purchase more than one, we could buy 5 or 6 and bring the cost down.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic idea. I thought staff jacket was a nice idea, but certainly, Dana, did you have something else you wanted to suggest?
I think that's a wonderful idea. When I was visiting another library, I saw that they had done, it was really beautiful, Shrewsbury Library. They had done like a planter in honor of someone, and they had a plaque with their name. But I mean, I just thought that was a nice idea, but I see this other idea as being very nice too. So, I mean, I think that's great.
Yeah, maybe we can come up with a couple of ideas. I think I like both those ideas, and I wouldn't want to have to choose tonight. So
no, but I guess the one, I don't know. It might be nice if we come up with something, some kind of way that we have a routine way of really thanking people, and it's something that we give them. I don't know what exactly could it be,
right.
But I mean, the planner is like in honor of them. They don't really get it because it's not at their home. But when you walk into the library, you see it and you're reminded of the person's work, what the person did. We have a lot of people like that. It might be, maybe we should be thinking of things like that. I was even thinking, even if we, floral donations in their name, like we used to, I don't know what's going to happen in the new library, but the Friends used to we used to get floral arrangements. And we could even have be it in somebody's honor, maybe even the flowers that we know they like or something. I don't know. It just made me think, and that's why I took pictures of it because I thought it was so cool, and it was pretty big, and it was pretty flowers, and it wasn't like expensive flowers, but they were planted and blooming.
Would we necessarily have a space for that at the new library?
We have to check. We think we have to live in it for a little while. I would say that's something that we live in for a while. This could be right outside the door if that's something that that a library director and other people thought made sense. I mean, in the past we have, but Andy keeps on saying you need to live in the space and see what really works. And I think that really makes sense because it's such a huge space. And we're also used to being in cramped little quarters that it's going to take us a while. I think there's going to be a lot of overwhelmed people for a while. And I think that's quite normal. They really are. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if people burst into tears. I mean, really, it's going to be that beautiful. And it's going to be like, wow, this is it. This is really ours. So I like Andy's idea, live with it and then figure it out.
I will say, I would love to see plants throughout the building, like internally as well too. So, you know,
Okay,
a nice tree or a succulent
Yes.
collection that's in something that will not damage the maple windowsills that aren't very wide and could accommodate, or tops of bookshelves.
right. We don't want to damage our woodwork. I
Right.
agree
No,
completely.
but there's certainly going to be a lot of sunlight in in those rooms. So
And the floors too. I mean, you could have something that's like on casters, that's on a really good pot. I mean, it would do it professionally. So maybe that's something to think of, because we definitely have a space to do that. And as you live in it, you'll decide where you'd like them.
Yep.
And then if we have like if we have a party, like in the community room, it would be cool if we could bring in some plants and put them around that were in other parts of the building. I mean, Doug's right. The lighting's going to be great. I mean, I don't know, maybe you could even have like an orange tree or a lemon tree. Wouldn't that be cool? I don't know.
Yeah. So we need to be careful just to make sure that these are also well cared for, you know.
Oh, that's true.
Think about, because I know a lot of times when I was working in an office, sometimes they have companies that come in and, you know, put all the plant work in there, and then they show up, you know, several times a week to water everything for you. I don't think we should go overboard, but I want it to be manageable so that people can, you know, take care of them, you know, within the library. Okay, great. Those are some nice ideas. I'm ready to move on unless there's further discussion. Okay. So building and grounds, Beth.
We're waiting on a plumber to come and repair a toilet in our family restroom, and we're hoping that that will happen before we open, because right now it just has tape and a hand lettered sign on it saying "Do not use." It sounds like it's got water hammer going on with like the vibrating pipes every time it flushes. So we pulled Bob Berger into the loop, and he's helping with that. American Alarm is coming June 30th to do the annual fire inspection. Our flag was tattered, and I purchased a new, it got fixed. Thank you, Cindy. The toilet is fixed. News to me. I've been out. Fantastic. The flag was tattered. I pulled it down off the flagpole and gave it to our local veterans agent to dispose of, and have ordered a new flag, which we will leave behind for the church. So we're in the midst of really prepping to move out, you know, making sure that things are in good condition. We're going to be rehanging doors and maybe retouching some paint scrapes and that kind of thing. I've been in touch with Frank Streeter, who's been and also somebody from the diocese, who's kind of our landlord, you know, just touching base. They're going to want to start bringing people in to look at the space to rent. And we're working on a huge list of town-owned items that we will not be taking with us, that need to be properly deaccessioned, which means as much as I love the antique card catalog from 1930, whatever, I can't have it. You can't even sell it to me. It has to be offered to town departments. We are actually going to keep those, but everything that we are not taking with us has to be offered to town departments first, and then we'll go to public auction. So I have staff and volunteers working to photograph, document, measure, create. We're working from a big spreadsheet of all the things that we do not need to take, and that we really can't keep, that have to be out by the 31st of July this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
We're trying to.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Desks, task chairs, we're getting almost all new task chairs. You know, school style seating in 2 sizes that Jennifer Menser bought for the children's room to improve that space when she was the children's librarian. We have 4 red Adirondack chairs that we purchased, which like, I don't know, you know, I kind of have to check in with the architect and a landscaper to say, is it appropriate to bring these back over? And if not, like, can I offer them to rec for Silver Lake? Or if they don't want them, really, I don't know, maybe one of the schools wants them. We have to take care of, we should take apart the planter, the big raised planting bed outside, that we won't take with us, but maybe one of the schools will want it. So in terms of building and grounds, you know, most things are in good shape, but we're just very aware that we are going to be moving out and turning the keys back over, and we need that to be clean and done so that we're not paying another month's rent for a space we're not actually in. Big job.
Big job. Thanks, Beth.
I delegated.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, certainly having stuff that needs to be sold in a time crunch is difficult. But yeah, so is there a plan with this stuff if you can't move it? If you can't
So,
sell it?
yeah, my hope is that on on June 1st, I will be saying to Evan, here's the list. In department, here's the list, what do departments want? And then whatever is left, like where are we going to store it? Because it can't stay here at the church. I do hear that the schools have very old task chairs, and they will probably be very happy to have our much newer task chairs. So at least those will have a good home.
Does it have to go to public auction?
Yeah, we keep like friends and trustees and staff.
Who
we keep
does
the
that
staff-
then?
The town, not me.
Would we be allowed to go to it then? Because
Yeah, you're public.
I remember there was some really nice outdoor furniture that was given by someone that's nice, and I was thinking, I don't think it's going to be appropriate for the new library, but I might like to have one of those, but I'd have to go to the public auction. Okay.
Yeah, I already had an inquiry about picnic tables, and I said, they're not mine to give away. If they were, yes, you could have them, but
No, I know that. I just wondered how
yeah.
the public auction
Yeah.
would be done, if it'd be like, with the way you imagine an auction to be.
Yeah. I don't know. I assume I don't have to run that. I just have to say, here's a list. of
No,
stuff.
I hope to gosh you don't.
Imagine.
Okay, any other questions about the current space building grounds? You must be getting overgrown, that's for sure. I know that was
This
a
is
big.
why this is why we do a walkabout, because I don't notice that.
Mhm,
Like until I'm tripping over the weeds on the path.
mhm.
I'm just
Yeah, it sounds like you guys are getting ready for the public though. There's lightning and thunder. Daniela, thank you for that. So yeah, I mean, it seems like you guys are getting ready for the public and trying to make the outside look a little bit nicer.
yeah. I did make the executive decision to not try and repair the floodlight on the pole at the bottom of the parking lot again.
Right.
It was out for a long time. We finally got electricians in. It's out again. We are going to be open 2 nights beginning in June till 8 o'clock. And I think that there will be enough light for people to exit safely to their vehicles without having to dump a bunch of town money into this ongoing lighting issue on property that is not ours. So if you feel differently in it, or you come the 1st of June and you feel like it's a safety concern, please let me know and then we can address it. But I think for now, like it just doesn't feel like worth doing.
Yep. Okay. Cindy mentioned that there was plenty of lighting. So I don't think it'll be a concern. That's a good decision.
We do like the porch, or have lit the porch all winter, because there's the 2 steps up and then walking around to the front. I'm worried about people parking all the way down the hill and on the other side where that floodlight really illuminated the whole bottom half of the lot that was not hit by either the porch lights or the exterior floodlights in the top half of the parking lot by that big round planter. So, but again, June 8 o'clock, I think it'll be okay.
Yep. Cindy.
Beth, I picked up books yesterday and I didn't leave I never got to the library until about 8:20, and I still had it was almost gone at that point. So I don't think there's anything to worry about whatsoever.
Yep. Okay. Moving on, we may lose power, so let's trudge on, right? Lightning storms coming. So COVID-19 update, Beth.
So I drafted the press release a week after our meeting. I did send it out for feedback. I got a little bit of feedback. And then the town posted it. So I was like, okay, I guess that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So, and then the day that it posted later that afternoon, the governor changed all the rules again. I attended the Board of Health meeting for Town of Grafton yesterday morning, and the attitude there seemed to be, we're following along with what the Commonwealth says, which is if you were vaccinated, fully vaccinated, you really don't need to wear a mask in any setting. Everything is open 100% as of May 29th. Kids inside their school buildings who are not vaccinated, which is everybody 12 and under, should still be masking, but they don't need to outside or at recess. And I really, I don't know what the press release that we sent out says, I really actually do not think we can mandate mask wearing in the building or capacity limits. So we're not going to. So the library will be open. It still will not be a destination like hang out and use the computers, just because I think we are going to be overwhelmed enough with shifting to serve the public. At the same time, we're still trying to finalize all these moving logistics. So we're gonna open for materials, and so you can come and say hi to your favorite librarian and get one last hurrah at St. Andrews for the month of June before we shut down in July to relocate. And I'm sure it will be just fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think it's within everybody's right to still wear a mask, whether you're vaccinated or not. I coach my son's baseball team, and out of respect, I've been vaccinated, but I still wear a mask around other people's kids because they're, not vaccinated, even though we're outdoors, and they're unmasked because they can be unmasked. So I'm kind of, when in that kind of a setting, I'm trying to follow like the school guidelines where the adults still need to be masked even though they're outside.
Yeah.
Although I'm not sure if that's changed as of May 29th. Who knows? But I think you're right. I mean, as much as you want to try to enforce something like that, I mean, you can't, and you have to get the police involved, and it's well within the patron's right to not have to wear a mask. So,
Yeah.
okay.
We'll offer them paper ones if people want them. We'll have hand sanitizer. We'll have the windows open. Staff can wear them or not, depending on what their own status is. I'm not clear on how long we need to continue the contact tracing piece. Right now, we just have staff logging every day. We're doing away with the staggered scheduling, and we would not have done patron contact tracing. So I'm hoping we'll be done with that as well, June 1st. I didn't read through far enough in the guidelines to figure out if we needed to do that. I haven't been quarantining anything since April. We're going to trust in the science and should be fine.
Great.
Yeah, and I think all the information you've sent us and the design of the flow and everything like that, you did a really nice job. Even when you were preparing that for the last year, including what you've done more recently.
Thanks.
I just had a quick question. Are we allowed to restrict, are we allowed to restrict how many people that come into the building at once? No.
No.
Okay. Even though we're in this rundown church.
Everything is open 100%.
Okay. Okay.
I do. It's going to be a lot of people coming in, browsing for 20 minutes and walking out.
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
Okay.
Yeah. We want them to
Okay.
come and take stuff so we don't have to move it. And so
That's true.
they tied them over for, the month of July. So.
Okay. Well, I mean, if that's what the government's mandating, what can we do? I am a little nervous about it, but
Yeah.
let's just hope that we get more and more people vaccinated so we don't slide back. That's my only concern, is sliding back and having a surge. But
I know.
because I think people really go bonkers then.
Yeah. Well, I know if God forbid that there is some kind of resurgence, then we'll go back a step, on a state level, if not a town level.
Yeah.
I also want to point out we are reserving the first hour of each day, which is 10 to 11, Monday, Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday, and 2 to 3 on the evening, Wednesday, Thursday, for those high-risk populations. And high risk might be families. It might be somebody who can't get vaccinated or doesn't want to get vaccinated. It might be elderly or just people who are high risk. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to stay away if you don't fit that category, but we are just saying that we would like those times reserved for those high risk populations. And that's, an opportunity for people who do still have whatever valid levels of concern. to still get service, and hopefully in a less trafficked time period.
So just to change the topic just a little bit. So does this change what we're offering from the library collection? No. So we're still going to not offer games because they're too hard to quarantine.
Sorry. Collection, anything is available, including
Yeah.
games and equipment. It's services that are still limited. No computer service. You can come in and print, but we don't really have a sit-down computer for you to use. We're not encouraging hanging out, so there won't be like tables and chairs to sit at. We haven't renewed our passport certificate, like agent acceptance certification, so we can't do passports. You can come in and get something notarized or have a test proctored. I suppose we can offer that. But, so there's still some limited services, but the entire collection is available. Some of it, yet the theory had been some of it might still be locked away because of staff working in those areas, but I think we'll have to determine at our next staff meeting if that's still going to be the case.
Well, I mean, you can still always request anything and somebody will go get it for you,
Yes.
right? You just won't be able to browse it. Okay, and so you said computers, right? Won't be available.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. That's all that I had. Doug.
Just a quick question. What day are you planning on opening? Did I miss that?
Yeah, so we have Memorial Day weekend this weekend, and then Tuesday, June 1st at
June 1st, June
10 a.m.
2nd.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
June 1st. Yep, June 1st is Tuesday.
Yeah.
Wow.
And those hours are posted on the website. Or they will be.
Maybe not. I'll have to go back and see.
Yeah.
We'll get it updated. So right now, actually, there's a red banner that says the library is closed due to COVID-19. So we can change it to blue or green or something, and new hours, limited browsing.
Yeah. I read the press release on the town's website, but I'm just wondering what sort of information, if somebody wants to go to the library, they know that you guys are open, but they don't know when, how they would find that information.
Yeah, we'll get it updated on Facebook and on the town website. And it has been going out to everybody in their curbside email notification this week, and it will be in our June newsletter, which I think is going to be done in the next day or two. So it'll go out to 1,500 people that way as well.
Okay. Any other questions for Beth? Very good. So the next item under new business is reorganization, election of board chair and vice chair. So every year following the election, we decide who will chair and vice chair our board. So if you would like to be nominated, please make that known to the other, board members, either individually. I don't believe you can nominate yourself. Or if you want to talk to one of the current board members and just express your interest and, talk about what maybe the job entails, I know I'll be happy to speak with people if they're interested. But also, Karen, I can't speak for her, but, you can reach out to her as well. So I'd like by the next meeting in June to be able to vote for a chair and vice chair and have nominations. Okay.
Has anyone expressed interest so far?
No, this is the first time we've kind of discussed it.
Yep.
So I'm not sure if Karen's still interested. I would be interested to chair again, but certainly if somebody else is interested too, please let me know. And I'll also just drop an email out to, I'm sure Stephanie and Karen can read the minutes, so I guess I don't need to email them to let them know we talked about it. But great. So that said, the teen advisor to the board, I think I'd like to table that unless anybody has any thing they want to discuss about the teen advisor at the moment. Okay. The diversity, equity, and inclusion statement. Stephanie's not here with us, and she was heading up that particular initiative. So I'd like to table that as well. On to, go ahead, Doug.
Sorry, I mean, that seems like that's been lingering for many months. Do you know if there's been any additional work on it, or because I know Martin and Stephanie were putting together different drafts.
Yeah, I think we really need to give Stephanie the opportunity to talk about it.
Okay.
Because she's not with us tonight. So I think we just need to table it. But certainly, if we decide to table something more than 6 times, then does it really need to stay on the agenda? And I think that's an appropriate question, Doug. Okay. On to policy review, policy committee update. Daniela, I believe it's you and Stephanie and Beth currently, correct?
Correct. And there were 2 policies we sent out earlier. I apologize for the timing of them. One is the material selection policy, and one is the minimum staffing requirement policy, earlier alluded to, in this meeting. Yeah, we are open for discussion on either one. Perhaps we could take the material selection policy first.
Go ahead, Marty. I think I saw your hand first.
Oh, thank you.
You're muted. Can't hear you.
Don't pressure him. Now he's fumbling with the mouse.
I got it.
There
Okay.
we go.
When the selections policy came up on the screen, everybody got moved, including me, and I couldn't find myself.
Yeah.
I apologize. I received the emails that were sent out on this. However, for reasons I don't know, and I may be the only one, I did not have access to these documents. I tried to open them, but it said I need to have access, and so I pressed whatever button it was and said I would get an email. I did not get an email. So speaking for myself, I am unable to discuss or vote on either of these at this time. And just as a matter of order, I think sending out stuff that has to be voted on, 3 hours before our meeting is not a good policy. And I don't need it as a motion or vote. It's just that I don't think that's the way I want to see things done.
Yep. Beth.
I
We
did
can't
not-
hear you. Go ahead. No, you're good.
I did not send it out because legal has not reviewed it yet. So the link that was shared was the draft that the committee had agreed on that has not been reviewed by legal, but it was a link maybe to a Google Doc. And there's something weird that happens with permissions. I'm really sorry that you couldn't see it. I did send it out because Daniela sent it out just so that people could have a copy of it as an attachment. And one thing that also happens is if you send out too many attachments, the town's email, which is Gmail, automatically converts them into Google Docs. So I can send things individually, but then you have a lot of emails. And I can try to be cognizant to send things to you individually if that's helpful. But you're right, it is not fair to send something out and expect a vote. And that's why actually these are dated 6/23, because my intent is that you now have them. You have a month to read them and provide direct feedback to the committee, who can then review them so that we can bring them to our June meeting. And we are still working on the meeting room policy too.
Aaron, can I just respond for a second?
Yep.
I'm not asking for this committee to do anything in that particular problem right now. It would be good, Beth, if maybe you can help me out, because when I went on it, it didn't indicate anything about it being a Google Doc or anything. It just said I have to ask for permission. So maybe you can walk me through whatever that's involved there. But I'm done talking about it at this point in time. If the committee wants to talk about these policies, okay, fine.
Yep. Thank you, Marty. And Beth, you answered the same questions that I had. One was, why is it dated for June? And two, you did mention that legal hasn't reviewed it yet. So even though it says on the agenda, that we were looking to vote for approval tonight, I misspoke because I know that we've been trying to approve these policies and I'm trying to move things forward. So we don't need to vote on these tonight. So I think we can table this unless Daniela, you have some more to say regarding the policy, just to give us some context. Maybe discuss some changes or where you feel that some of the policies needed updating.
For the material selection, it is as it is.
Yep.
For review, but for the meeting room policy, yes, please look at the sections in terms of when there are different staffing levels or numbers. That is, and to accommodate, coverage, let's say. So I just want to bring people's attention to that.
And that's,
So, sorry, just to comment on something you said, Daniela. I think you said.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not meeting.
Meeting policy,
yeah.
minimum staffing,
Yeah.
right?
I meant
Yeah.
minimum staffing. I apologize. Minimum
Yes.
staffing
Yep.
requirement policy.
Yep. Yeah. I just had a question about. So number 4, right? I think this is pretty well written, but it talks about if 5 staff members are available, right? 5 desks, but you generally would like to have at least 6 people, so you have 1 floater. Is that kind of what the policy is stating? Because I had to kind of do a little bit of math. So it didn't say anywhere that a properly staffed library should have 6, or maybe if it does, I counted lobby, children's room, between room, circulation, reference desk, and 1 to float. Yes, yep. So I did read that. Okay. Yeah. So I guess I answered my own question.
so, okay, so it's right there is what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe we could just write the number if you think that's helpful. I thought this is really helpful. And I figured that Beth had to really be working closely with you to figure out how to do all this. And it made me realize we're really stretched a little. I don't know. We'll see how we are. But
Okay. Beth,
I
please.
will say, I know a staff concern was what happens when, because I think 4C is, we will kind of make a needs-based assessment. So what happens when there's like people in the tutoring rooms and the children's or teen room closes and now we have to displace people. So I think just need to be careful about that. Like there might be options for, I know you were tutoring and you wanted a private room, but we're closing the floor. So we can relocate you to the community meeting room, which is empty of programs. And now we're going to spread out 3 groups of 2 in 3 of the 4 corners. Not completely private, but at least we're kicking you out of the library because the floor is closing. And if there is a public meeting going on, we've kind of designed that building so we can shut off the youth services section and still have a public meeting and not have to kick people out. They can exit and use the restrooms and all of that. So the design of that building really comes into play and works for us to keep staff to a minimum. Staff are also concerned actually that 3 might not be enough. So that is something I would like the board to go back and think individually about. 3 people means 1 person, probably will mean 1 person up, 1 person down, and a floater. It could also mean 2 in youth services and someone at the door, all on 1 floor. It could mean that the first floor is completely closed and 3 people are upstairs. So you might decide, it's actually not safe to have 1 and 1 in a floater, and we don't want that. And that kind of feedback would be really helpful. Staff had some concerns about it.
okay.
Very good. Thank you. So will you let us know when these have come back from legal? Are you expecting like a week turnaround, 2 weeks? Because, just to address, Marty's point, like say it comes back from legal 3.5 weeks from now, and then we only have a half a week or a day or so to review it.
I won't wait. I did just send them to her today.
Okay.
But if I don't hear back from a week, I'll start nudging, and yes, sometimes CCing like Cindy Ide is helpful. Also, Ginny is back on site. So I actually had set up an appointment with her Wednesday, the 19th, to bring these documents to her. And I think I was out sick, or it was first 2 days back from a 2-day vacation, and I completely forgot and missed the meeting. But she's now on site the first and third Wednesday of the month. So now that she has these, I can get an appointment for her next meeting date and go in person to say, where do you have issues? What do we need to change legally? I think Doug had his hand up.
Well, I have a number of questions and comments, but do you want me to just do that offline and then we can
Uh-huh.
bring those to the next meeting?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
Okay.
And policy committee needs to meet. We'll meet.
Yep.
Like in,
That's,
yeah, like 2 weeks.
yeah, that sounds like a plan, Doug. Yeah, any feedback, I would just send it to the policy committee. Include Daniela, Beth, and Stephanie. One last question regarding the third policy was the meeting room policy. Will that be ready to go to legal for us to review and approve it by the next meeting? Because I know that one's a priority. At least get it
Yeah.
approved by July, right?
Yeah, I think so. One of the things that was holding us up was we did want to create a not a matching policy, but a complementary policy around renting out the space, and did not want to bring a document referring to an appendix with a fee structure if we hadn't hammered out that fee structure yet. So it's been assigned to 2 people to work on it, and now a third person has actually gone and done the research, and I have some pricing to compare to. So that we can come up with something that sounds reasonable for the board to review. So we will not be doing any meeting space, I don't think, except for the Friends in July. I have already had 2 requests for meetings in August and in October. And what I've said was, I can't respond to you until we have our policy, we have our fee structure, and we have our event keeper meeting room software ready to go. But hopefully, yes, if really we're back at 100%, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be booking meeting rooms by September at the latest for the public to use.
Great. Thank you, Beth.
That's great.
Any other questions for the policy committee? Okay. I lost my agenda. What do we have next?
Vote to approve, oh no, director's report.
Sorry, I want to share the pretty graphic that I made, but there it is. So I know it feels funny, it's the end of May, but April is the last full month we have. So those are the stats that we're looking at. Most of our stats are a little bit lower all month. Either people are getting sick of us, or they were just off doing fabulous things over April vacation, or taking advantage of all the DIY programs that we had available instead of like the collection. So, curbside pickup was a little bit down. I can move that. Home delivery, this is delivery, I think, to homebound people. Somebody said, we don't need you anymore. Remember, it can be a temporary or permanent service. So we had somebody drop. 2021 circulation stats just remain low in general, but digital for halfway through the year to be at over 12,000 digital items is pretty impressive. I'm never clear on if we're actually getting fewer reference questions or if we're just not tracking it very well, but both reference questions and staff placed holds were down this month. I didn't buy any nonfiction, I don't think, in April, so items added were really low. Give away a lot of new library cards. All of our social media subscriber numbers went up, except for Pinterest, that stayed the same. We continue to run programming, reading log type programming through Beanstack, and are getting ready to launch our summer reading program June 1st. The virtual programs are mostly children's room things and online book discussions via Slack. But then we also have all of these DIY kits, particularly around April vacation. So we had almost 500 people participating in programming for the month of April, which is really great. With the weather improving and museums lessening their COVID-related restrictions, museum pass numbers are up again. And we added a volunteer. We had 3 volunteers give us 20 hours. What else did I want to share? I was going to share one other thing from the director's report. I apologize because now all the viewers at home, you can't see this, but I'm like scrolling through documents on my computer to find the right thing. I didn't do a PowerPoint, but I did want to just show off. We so infrequently we put these things out and then we don't know what happens with it. And one of the things they did in April was a planting, pick up your soil and cup and whatever flower seed. So here's one of our patrons. It's Oliver, Allison's son, in case you don't recognize. Watching his little plant grow. And he also did the water bead program that they offered in April. So our STEM component stuff continues to be really, really popular. Kids services did 112 kits, and I think adult services did like 46, 60 blackout poetry kits, 24 seed bomb kits, and 36 community read kits. Some of these stats are already in that graphic that I showed. Heidi did a phenomenal job with the community read that was library themed about a Appalachian mounted librarian, kind of like before bookmobiles. And she dressed up in all kinds of costumes and created craft kits to go and led, I think, 6 or 7 book discussions by the Jojo Moyes book. And the best part was she did them all on Slack, which is a text chat bulletin board style kind of discussion. And then in the official community read event, which was at the end of April, somebody in the chat said, "Can we just be on Zoom?" And she said, yeah, sure. And she just like on the fly switched gears, set it up, and accommodated that request for the participants, which I thought was really great. Yeah.
Are you sure it's off?
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Dana, your mic's on.
Dana,
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Hi, Henry.
I'm sorry. Sorry, people.
I don't have anything else unless you have questions. I did send it out today. Just here's what we've been up to. I was really busy with lots of projects.
Yeah, the STEM kits were fantastic. I took a video of my my son with a little catapult kit launching the little puffballs at our cats. They loved it. I'd share, but it's a public meeting.
That's great though.
Yeah,
That's cute.
a lot of fun with that. We were trying to figure out my other son was trying to figure out the anemometer. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
Anemometer.
Okay, yeah, I still don't know what it's for, but we still want to find out. No, those kits were fantastic. Great. Any other questions on the director's report? Doug, please.
Yeah, I have a question. It's not really about the director's report, but I mean, sort of. It's, now that with the new library opening and the restrictions going down, is your staff like starting? I mean, I know they're planning probably the normal programs that they would have normally held without COVID, but like, is it possible for us to kind of get not now, but like maybe next month to get a glimpse of like what's going to be happening in those first 2 or 3 months?
I'm glad you're sitting down because the glimpse is that they are running a 10-week summer reading program on an animal theme that includes everything from post a picture of your pet on Facebook and we're going to come up with a voting thing and a badge, to come and pick up a kit to sew a little felt puppet, to adopt an animal and you get a cute little stuffed animal, to all the traditional like online story times. They contracted with Animal Adventures to offer 10 weeks of related content via video that you can watch, on your phone outside or at the beach or, from your warm, comfortable air-conditioned home, and earn badges for doing that. So there's no in-person programming. It is all still online and virtual because, again, like as we were putting the whole calendar together, we didn't know what was going to happen, and we knew we'd be closed for at least a month. So some of those kits are probably going to be picked up from the municipal center in July. So it'll all be on the Event Keeper calendar, but there's like 6,000 kits total that we will be putting together and distributing. And my staff, bless their hearts, when I heard from some of the staff that we're so overwhelmed and now we're moving and we're deaccessioning stuff and we're relocating and that you want us to do what? The children's staff came in, helped put things together, and I was out sick today. I still have a migraine. But the staff came together today to start putting together these kits that are going to go on bins that will be wheeled to a location and distributed even while we are not offering any other traditional library services, the end of June, July, into August. So things are going to be happening even as we're straddling two buildings and dealing with the relocation and punch list and recertifying as passport agents and finishing the fiscal year and getting our food safe certification done, because we want to have the bread guy come in and bake in our new community kitchen. There's going to be a lot happening. It just might not be in the building until we're probably going to take a little bit of a break in September and then start up, I hope, with traditional story time again, hopefully in October. So that's what's on the horizon for the summer.
Do you think we move in whatever August 1st? Do you think there would be need to hire some bibliotemps or some kind of temporary staff for a short period of time to help your staff with all those startup activities and especially the first month or two of the open library?
That's a great question. Maybe it depends on how many people are crying. Dana said people are going to walk in and cry, and I was thinking it's going to be the staff, or like, we love our building, but oh my gosh, I am so overwhelmed. One of the benefits of starting to get these kits together now is that, again, we'll be able to just be like, okay, it's the week of July 12th. We're moving, but oh my gosh, all we have to do is throw the tote in the car and bring it to the municipal center and put it out with the sign, and hope somebody doesn't come by and scoop all 30 or 50 kits. We kind of designed the programming to run itself so that the staff bandwidth can be directed to set up your office, start planning for September and October, learn how to use the meeting room software, learn how to fix the jam in the AMH, that kind of stuff.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we certainly have state aid money that we could use for that.
Yeah. I told them all they can't take vacation, so.
Yep. Great suggestion, Doug. Dana, please. Can't hear you. Okay.
Can you
try
hear
now.
me yet?
Yep.
I think that's a great idea, Doug. Because I mean, I know it might be a hassle to think about it right now, but maybe there's some way they can help you. And why not make it go a little bit smoother? And people, I mean, I was just saying people would be crying with joy, but they are going to be overwhelmed. I mean, they
Yeah.
really will be overwhelmed because they're going to have to figure out how to use everything. And it's going to be like incredible. But it may also create some anxiety. So I don't see why not. I mean, I'd rather have things go well and everybody have good feelings and then stress out. And, so we could talk about it offline, but I don't see why not. I think that's a great idea. I really do, because you do want to learn how to do everything and then do it right. And so.
Yeah. And meanwhile, books are still coming in and have to get
Yeah, I mean,
placed
you're
on shelves and all that stuff.
people are going to be like going nuts. It's going to be wild, I think, but we'll see. So you're probably going to need some help, Beth. I wouldn't,
Right.
I would rather get you get help, even if it ends up that I'd rather have you get help than not get help. So I think that's excellent, Doug. That's an excellent suggestion.
It's an amazing idea and a huge relief. It's also, though, why when I say a soft opening would be best to open on a half-day schedule
Yes,
for
absolutely.
August, just so we can ease in. It will mean people will show up thinking it's open, Monday night, and then be upset that it's closed, and we'll have to deal with that. But
Well, we'll promote it. I mean, it's a new library. You want to get used to it. You want to learn how to use it. It makes sense to open it. If you do that, that gives you the opportunity to learn learn and then improve your services. So I think that's a great idea.
And I do think it's better than just saying, we're going to close again and we'll open in September when we figure everything out.
Yeah,
All right, I'll look into bibliotemps and come back with a price in June. Thank you.
Great.
Great idea.
Any other discussion for Beth, director's report? I would like to go back because I think we missed discussing the COVID-19 Board of Trustees meeting, right? So I don't know what the executive order means for, for public meetings. I think it means we can start meeting again, right? So I think as a board, we need to come to that decision if we're going to all meet in person or if there's a way to meet like in a hybrid model if we need to go that route. But, I'd be happy to discuss with anybody who would like to have those discussions. We don't have to do it tonight, but maybe come to something, bring something to the board, before the next meeting.
I guess theoretically July, at the end of July, we might be in the new building and open. We could have July meeting in the new library. So maybe next month we stay virtual and then July we're in, we decide to go public. I don't know.
Well, are we going to be able to be recorded, right? Isn't that the question that Bob DeToma?
That's a good question. If that's all going to be set up by then or not, I don't know. Good question.
We can always be recorded. I am a producer and I can get the camera and we could just have a wide angle on the whole room. It wouldn't like spotlight on your face the way that it used to with the 3 cameras in the meeting room. And we may not have the live piece figured out, but we've actually never been live. We've always just been recorded. So
Yeah,
we can definitely record.
okay.
So I can explore that option.
But
Okay.
then I guess we just have to make sure all of us are comfortable.
Of course. Well, we could still have the option of being virtual, I guess.
Okay, and if you wanted
everyone-
to, you
if
could
you
wear a
wanted to.
mask.
Definitely.
And dial in. I mean, we still have that remote policy, which you mentioned, Beth. I think that would be reasonable. Okay, great. So any other discussion, any motions regarding meeting as a board? Okay. So we had our public input. The next meeting is Wednesday, June 23rd at 7 p.m. We'll determine if that's via Zoom. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Okay, Dana,
Sorry.
we can hear you now. No, I can't hear you.
Now can you hear me?
Yep.
I have to go in and, okay. I make a motion to adjourn.
Fantastic. Any second?
I will second that motion.
Very good. All in favor? Aaron, aye. Dana,
Aye.
Doug,
Doug, aye.
Daniela,
Aye.
and Marty.
Aye.
All right, great. I declare this meeting adjourned.